What I will do is I'm just introducing Kaushiki ma'am. Kaushiki ma'am is a debater. She's also a coach. She's also a judge in many tournaments. She regularly takes a lot of training classes, but she's enjoying a new device today. Okay, so she may not be able to switch on the camera. Not the most ideal thing, right? Shivan, Kaushiki, were you able to switch on your camera and fix it?
I wasn't able to, but I think everything else is working fine.
Perfect. So we can all hear you, Kaushiki ma'am. Over to you. So what Kaushiki ma'am is going to do, she's going to be your trainer today, tomorrow, and day after. Are you all? We are all on for tomorrow, right? We'll play our holy and rest and then come for our class. Is that okay? Yeah, because
Yes.
the debate is on
Yes,
28th.
ma'am.
Perfect. So play holy, be safe, enjoy yourself, but rest and then come. I want you to please nap it out, okay? Sleep for an hour and then join in. Kaushiki ma'am, I'm handing the team over to you. Please go ahead and train them. It's a small group, so lovely. You can interact. All of you who are very worried about team member not being there, we are watching it. If the team member doesn't happen, then we will just reorient the teams, okay? Okay, Kaushiki ma'am, over to you. Thank you.
Great. Welcome everyone to the Frankenstein Debate 2024. This is India's largest sustainability debate. We will be keeping the training session really interactive to ensure that everybody's concepts are very clear. So, for that matter, you all will raise your hand so that I can ask you what your thoughts are on certain topics and certain prompts that I give you. Great. So, the theme for this entire debate revolves around how climate is changing, how the growing pie and shrinking lives look like. Does anyone know what a growing pie, shrinking lives as an EDM means? You can raise your hand. Okay, great. So, one such interpretation of this phrase is that we are trying to overutilize our resources, which is A, affecting the environment, but B, is also affecting the way we are living our lives. So, you can make multiple interpretations of the entire climate and how it is extremely affecting our lives, but the way we are consuming as well. Throughout the training sessions, we have also divided our theme into multiple monsters, and those monsters are equivalent to how climate is changing and what are the different causes for the monsters to represent certain consequences. Great. I'm going to share you the training schedule so that you all know when you have to join in for the classes and what you expect from the classes. The first session, which is today, we will be discussing three things. The first is we will just be going over the format, what you expect from the sessions, what are the monsters, what is the theme, what are the certain interpretations that you can take out of the theme, and yes, multiple other things. This includes just an overview of what a WSTC format looks like. We will also be doing a short quiz on WSTC so that we have a competitive spirit override. The second session, which is going to be held tomorrow, same from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m., we will be discussing an in-depth overview of what the format is, what are the speaker rules in the format, how are you supposed to manage those speaker rules, what is argument, and how do you rebut. These are the most important and fundamental questions that you have to be very clear on when you actually compete in a round. The last session will be all about practice, which means we will be having multiple case preparations. This looks like giving you a motion, and we will be discussing what the possible arguments look like. The second thing that we will be doing is rebuttal, how to respond to your opponent and how to ensure that we analyze best case and worst case. The third thing is we will be having mock debates. So, whatever we have learned in session 2, we will be ensuring that in session 3, you have some idea and some grasp of how things are being held. Is the training session clear to everyone? You can also raise your thumbs up and raise your thumbs like down, your thumbs down to make me understand if all the things are clear. Thanks, Varnika. Great. Let's go to our monsters for this year. We have three monsters who depict three various causes for why our environment is changing so rapidly. The first monster is eco guzzler. The second monster is called unchecked consumerism. The third monster is called ego eco tussle. I will be discussing what these three monsters are, what have they done to our society, and how is the climate impacted by all three monsters. Let's go to our first monster. It's called Eco Guzzler. Eco Guzzler is a careless, selfish monster making the planet suffer. Yes, Tatavit, I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly.
Ma'am, it's pronounced Tatvit.
Tatvit, okay.
I have a question. Like, if you attended the first understanding session by accident, will we like be understanding the same thing, or is it something different?
Since it's the second training session, we will be going over the format, going over the
Because
understanding of the monsters once
no, I'm
again.
talking about.
Yeah.
I did the same thing in the training session, the understanding session for the children participating on the 23rd. So, do I have to like understand something new in this, or is it the same monsters? Because
This,
the
yeah, this is
monsters.
the same. If you've attended the training sessions before, you can feel free to exit the room. But if you want to stay and listen to us more, you can definitely.
Okay.
Great. Yes. Let's go to our first monster. This is called Eco Guzzler. So, Eco Guzzler is a selfish monster making the planet suffer. This monster is making the planet suffer in four main ways. The first way in which this monster is affecting the planet is it's really making the resources go short. The second way in which this monster is affecting us, it is giving out ill effects of extreme human exploitation. I will open the floor for the prompts. The prompt is, how do you think the eco guzzler is affecting the planet according to you? You can raise your hand, you can go over the slide, you can give me your multiple interpretations that you have about eco guzzler. Yes, Javik.
So I think ego guzzler is when we only care about our ego and just use up all the resources and be like, OMG, I'm not caring about the planet, and just keep using and buying stuff which we don't really need.
Yes, absolutely, Javik. Any other person who would like to share their interpretations? Yes, Sarthak.
Ego guzzler is like a monster which we sometimes turn into when we when we think only about ourselves and forget about others, and like we use all the resources in the team, like for example, you have a team and like you have given a limited amounts of resources, and like you turn into an eco guzzler and become selfish and use all the resources.
Yes, absolutely, Sarthak. Thank you. Varnika.
Ma'am, according to me, Eco Guzzler is a monster that uh, harms the environment and causes high pollution and global warming.
Yes, absolutely, Varnika. Elena.
Eco guzzler is a monster. Like we we do replenish the resources by planting new trees, but we're cutting trees faster than we plant them.
Yes, absolutely. That's one of the causes of eco guzzler. Great. Satvik.
The eco guzzler is the monster that doesn't care about anything else. When guzzler forgets about recycle, refurbish, and reuse.
Yes, absolutely. Kiara.
Yes, ma'am. So you could say that this is it's a very selfish monster as written here, because it only thinks about itself and not about the earth. So it's just using up all the resources and it's not benefiting. So it's just wastage, and it is also increasing the pollution and the global warming.
Yes, absolutely. For the rest of the ones who are using their hands, I'm going to ensure that you get to talk in the next monster that we're discussing, which is unchecked consumers.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
I want to share a point.
Oh, yeah. So I will be recognizing you in the next monster. Does that work? Because we have three of them. Yeah. So, and feel free to write your thoughts in the chat box as well. I will be reading them out later as well. There are shocking facts which Eco Guzzler shares with us. The first one is according to the International Monetary Fund, and these are the facts that you always have to ensure that you say it in front of the judges as well, because it is the part of an example, but secondarily it really helps you to strengthen your argument and gives a ground example of how things are deteriorating. So the first is, according to the International Monetary Fund, global subsidies for fossil fuels were $5.2 trillion in 2021. It's again a shocking fact. The second is Pew Charitable Trust. It's a research organization and an organization which creates data for all the things which are happening in the world. Estimated that government worldwide spend $13 billion on cleaning up plastic pollution. Are you seeing how governments are spending trillions of dollars to ensure that our oceans are clean, that our air is free of any sort of pollutants? The kind of devastating effects that climate has had in the past few years, it's extremely ginormous. The third thing is United Nations Environment Program estimates developing countries need between $140 billion to 300 billion annually by 2030 for adaptation measures. The kind of money that government needs right now is enormous for climate to be replenished very fast, but the resources to come into track. Great, so this is what Eco Guzzler's thoughts look like. There are certain opinions on the group, on the chat box as well. The first is buying too much clothes. Absolutely, this is unchecked consumerism. The Javik says buying what we want, even if we don't need it. Yes, over exploitation of resources. That's amazing. Let's go to Eco Guzzler's thoughts. So Eco Guzzler also says that there are different causes in which the environment is getting deteriorated. The first one is there's a lot of ecological disruption. Ecological disruption looks like deforestation. You don't care about the ocean. You throw plastics in the ocean without even caring about it. You don't switch off the bulbs when you go out of the room. The second is you are wasting too much amount of money buying something that you do not need at all. And here I'm going to ask Vedansh and Shivansh to share their thoughts. Vedansh.
Is selfish. It endless five, it doesn't care about animals and humans. It is selfish. It wants everything, the resources also. And
Yes, absolutely. Yep, Shivansh. Okay, I'm gonna ask you in the next monster as well. Miraya.
Ma'am, I think that Eco Guzzler is trying to say like there is my friend and she has bought an electric eraser and she uses batteries in it, so that way the energy is being waste. We could simply buy a eraser that is not electric, that would not waste energy as well.
Okay, that's fine. Just Meher.
if you buy too much clothes, and don't turn off the light when you're leaving the house for like a very long time, then it'll automatically very, very bad for the environment.
Yes, absolutely agree with just Meher. And now I'm going to take you in the next monster. The third thing is for you to ensure that you do not agree with Eco Guzzler, you have to do three things in order to help the environment get better. The first one is setting priorities as developing and developed countries. If you look at developing countries, these are countries such as India, Afghanistan, Tajikistan, so many other developing countries who have different demography, who have different ways of dealing with climate. So you need to set priorities for how these countries deal with climate change. And it is up to debate and it is up to research as well. The second thing is you need to be able to afford green technology. Can some of you give an example of what a green technology is? Okay. Varnika.
And solar panels?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the examples of green technology. The next thing is you need to ensure that you stop the disproportionate distribution of resources and you are able to ensure that the resources are equitably distributed amongst all communities for them to afford things like green technology. And Shivan, stop doing that. Great. Let's go to our second monster, which is called unchecked consumerism. Unchecked consumerism is basically ensuring that you're able to buy resources which you care about and you do not throw it after wearing it one time or just two times. So there are a couple of questions which the unchecked consumerism raises on the consumers themselves. The first is, how many times do we go shopping in a year, and how many times do we actually do it for the need and not want? I feel that we as consumers have been buying things on a rapid pace without caring about how we will use it in the future. I have seen so many individuals use one cloth at one time and throw everything after just like one use. That is sad because we tend to accumulate landfills and we destroy the way things have been purchased. So I'm going to ask and open the floor. How many of you relate to unchecked consumerism? And do you think unchecked consumerism is saying the right thing? I'm gonna, yep, Inayat.
Okay, so this is where, like, even if you have clothing or anything, if there's one stain, you obviously throw it out. This is a want, so you want to buy new clothes, but you don't realize the need for others. And yes,
Yes, absolutely. Sarthak?
Ma'am, unchecked consumerism is like when sometimes like many people I've seen nowadays, like even in my family, people like my aunts all buy, and my mom even all buy clothes, like, and many people like just wear it and throw it out. Big celebrities don't wear clothes again and again. Ma'am, that leads to like making more clothes, and like if we make, like we will soon run out of our resources, and like we will have to suffer.
Yes, absolutely. I completely hear Sarthak. So Sarthak is able to show that we have held a lot of people unaccountable. So we have seen celebrities who just wear clothes, and these are clothes which are new every award season or every show that they are occasioning themselves with. So I agree with Sarthak. Great. I'm gonna go and Mira, I'm gonna ask you to do it later. Kiara. Meanwhile, everybody who's raising their hands, please feel free to write it in the chat box.
Yes, ma'am. So, ma'am, I just wanted to say that there's a very clear difference between need or necessity and luxury. So, need or necessity is when you actually need something, or when you don't have clothes to wear, or maybe your height is increasing. So, because of that, all your clothes have gone too short. So then you can buy clothes, but luxury is when you already have a cupboard full clothes, and then just to buy new clothes and just for your fascination, you go to the market, you go to the mall for shopping, and you just buy new clothes. So in this way, we are basically wasting the resources, and the people who actually need it, we are just finishing it. So they can maybe not get it.
Yes, absolutely, Kiara. Thanks for sharing it. I'm going to go
I have a
towards.
question.
Yep.
I don't understand the difference between unchecked consumerism and eco guzzler.
Oh, yeah. So, eco guzzler is all about destroying the environment in various ways. Unchecked consumerism is specifically about overutilization of resources. So, let's say you are buying things without any ways in which you can stop it or make the product seem worthwhile in a longer period of time. So, unchecked consumerism is all about the products which you buy and the way you are not checking it while you buy it for future outcomes. And eco guzzler is specifically about the way we are destroying the planets in multiple causes. Does that make sense?
Yes, and for resources, right?
Yeah, great. I'm going to be sharing some shocking facts about unchecked consumerism, and everybody who has raised their hands, I will be ensuring that you're speaking the next monster. Feel free to write it in the chat box. There are shocking facts. The first one is fashion industry, which is the biggest claim that unchecked consumerism makes, accounts for around 10% of global carbon emissions. This is one of the biggest global carbon emissions that you've been seeing for a lot while. More than all international flights and maritime shipping combined. The second fact is around 165 billion packages are shipped in the US each year, leading to an enormous amount of cardboard and plastic waste. Are you seeing how developed countries are also responsible for creating billion of packages without any sort of checks and mechanisms? The third is globally about 85% of textiles end up in landfills each year, contributing to environmental degradation and waste exploitation to a larger degree. Great. I'm going to go towards the causes for unchecked consumerism. The first is obviously fast fashion, the kind of clothes that you buy, the kind of heels that you buy, the kind of shoes that you buy, and you throw them after one wear just because you want to, let's say, create an enormous image in the society as well. That is one of the causes to be exemplified. The second is commodified ways of life. This is specifically a consequence of fast fashion. Like, we keep buying stuff without any checks and balances. The third is soft power influence. I'm going to give a prompt here. So, do you agree that celebrity culture has impacted our daily life? I'm going to, Ridansh. Do you think celebrity culture has... Javik says yeah with 3
We
A's.
want to be.
What?
Okay, Miraya. Oh, you are on mute.
Soft,
Yeah,
Ma'am,
Miraya, continue.
soft power influences like when we are like some celebrities, they wear very branded clothes and all, and when we see it, we are very attracted by them, and we think that we should also buy them so that we will be more famous. But actually, that harms our environment more.
Yes, absolutely. Ridansh, you were speaking something?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, we look people that are very rich. We are also greedy like them, that we want to have fashion like them. But it's we should not do that, but because it's a wastage. We don't wear that clothes. We don't do use that fashion. It's a waste.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. So we tend to buy things which we are inspired from our celebrities, but we do not use it when the trend is off. The next is manufactured consent.
Excuse me, ma'am.
It looks like, yeah, do you have any doubt?
Ma'am, I want to say that if we will move on like this only, so we will sit on plastic and that will go on our ocean, and then the marine life would be harmed.
Yes, absolutely. I would have loved if you could have raised your hand. Please raise your hand and then I'll be able to recognize you. I'll be moving on to the next monster. Whoever is raising their hands, please feel free to use the chat box. I'm also reading them out loud. Great, let's go to our three next points. The first one is manufactured consent. This looks like that you feel that you're buying it on your own volition, but you are not. You are trapped by things like celebrity culture, more money, more illusion of autonomy. You have a short-sighted goal setting. This looks like that you want to do things which are short-termist, but you do not focus on the long-term consequences. Like when you just switch on the lights and you leave the room, you don't focus on the long-term causes of how the environment is getting much more warmer. There is more global carbon emissions which are out there. You're increasing your carbon footprints. There are so many things which are happening in long term, but you forget that just because you have a short-sighted goal setting in your head. Let's go to our third monster. This is called ego tussle. This ego tussle says that everything that we do is in our self-interest. You might have one question: how is it different from the ego tussle, the first monster that we saw? This monster specifically talks about the war between countries, how the global issues are impacting us. So my first question is, do you think the war in Middle East is affecting the climate? Everybody says yes. Yes, it has. Yes, I agree. Yep, yeah. Javik has 7 A's in front of his yes. Okay, I'm gonna we have a lot of people in the class. I just want to see who am I missing. Inayat. Do you think the war in the planet is hurting our environment?
Because in the war they use guns and different types of machinery like bombs, and it really affects climate. And right now only in the morning it's winter, but then in the afternoon it's summer.
Absolutely agree with you. So if you look at countries such as or regions such as Middle East, Africa, South China Sea, or Arctic ice, if you see those places, even if you look at things like Ukraine, Russia, or Palestine, Israel, all of these countries are in the middle of a tussle. Tussle is basically fight and a conflict. And you can see how much of an impact the climate change is happening right now. We are not able to self-preserve ourselves. There's a lot of issues with the competitive global economy. We are not able to get through the roots of oil and gas reserves because all of this is getting tussled into the conflict that we are seeing around. Yes, Mariah, you've been raising your hand for quite a while now.
Ma'am, this is like when two countries or more than two countries they fight against, like some they drop a bomb, and bomb causes both air and land pollution.
Yes, absolutely, I agree with you. Sarthak.
Ma'am, if you know that in the World War, the US dropped a bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So this is a type of tussle, and if we study a bit about the nuclear bombs, it can take about 100 years to dissolve that nuclear energy, and before the 100 years, that leads to diseases and environmental damage.
Yes,
Our environment
absolutely.
is harmed.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good historical fact that Sarthak keeps with us. So during the World War II, we have seen so many Japanese and specifically individuals who were living in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the vulnerable area, got impacted because there was a bomb thrown by United States of America. And till date, if you go to Hiroshima, Nagasaki and try to research about it, you can see people with deformities. You can see individuals facing a lot more, let's say, skin effects or cancer effects still in Hiroshima, Nagasaki, because the bomb was so brutal and it was so disastrous for the individuals. I'm going to use the shocking facts here to depict what the eco tussle has to say about the climate. The first is in regions. Yes, please feel free to share your thoughts in the chat box. The first is in regions like the Middle East, Africa, and then South China Sea, competition for resources has led to conflicts, civil wars, and even military interventions. So most of the countries are having ego tussle just because they want the control of some resources. If you look at Middle East, the fight is on oil. Who controls oil? There's a fight about land in African states. There's a fight about a lot more specific industries in the North American regions. The second fact is, as the Arctic ice melts, it's one of the biggest Arctic seas that you see around. Due to climate change, new shipping routes and access to untapped oil and gas reserves are becoming available, sparking geopolitical competition among countries. This brings me to the same impact that I was talking about. Because of the fight towards control of resources, you see so many countries being angry with each other and they try to disrupt the resources. The third is this influx of environmental refugees is straining international relations and raising questions about responsibility, who is responsible for resources, who controls the resource, who actually allocates them, what is the main debate about human rights. So all of this is getting compromised just because some countries want to capture or control resources in the very first place. I will be going towards the second prompt. The second prompt is, what do you think are causes for ego tussle? Like, what do you understand from all of the discussions that we've had so far? I want some of you to summarize me. Yes, Inayat.
Okay, so each of these monsters are affecting the environment in various ways. So one is war and for resources like eco tussle, and one is celebrities culture and like how they affect the environment by buying and buying more stuff, and also the first one where we get more wants than needs.
Yes, absolutely. Ranvija.
If we demand things from companies, so the pollution will increase. If we demand less from company factories, so pollution will decrease a lot.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with you. Although, if we just ensure that the companies become much more sustainable, this looks like usage of green technology. I think our demand also becomes much more sustainable. So, if you look at the debate about veganism, this looks like more and more consumers are becoming vegan. They do not want to exploit animals, neither they want to exploit like the rights that animals have, which is why the demands are also becoming sustainable. If the consumers can become sustainable, so can the people who are becoming, or let's say, are manufacturing those products. Yes, Shivansh. Shivansh.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I wanted to say like just the COP2 was a meeting that happened in the Dubai. Ma'am, for this only like global warming and climate change.
Yes, absolutely. Miraya.
Ma'am, I wanted to add one point to Ranvijay's point. Ranvijay has said, no?
Okay, go on.
Ma'am, before we buy anything, we should always ask two questions to us. The first one is, can we afford it? And the second one is, can our planet afford it?
Absolutely. Those are really thought provoking questions. Thank you so much for sharing, Miraya. Sathwik.
This monster is basically like if some war is happening, the resources that is being waste, like Sarthak said, the nuclear resources were very, very time consuming and very, very precious, and that मतलब एक सेकंड में सब खत्म हो गया.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Sarthak.
Ma'am, like the ego tussle is like a monster that like our army becomes like in a war. In a war, like I talked about the nuclear bomb before, like the nuclear bomb led to a lot of pollution. Bombs lead to a lot of pollution, harming, making the climate change. And the ma'am, the ego tussle is like talking about the wars that happen between countries for resources. Like after the nuclear bomb on Japan, Japan lost all its resources. So, like the eco tussle is making lose resources.
Yes, I absolutely
I
agree
have a
with you,
question.
Sarthak. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, question, go ahead.
So ego tussle is basically like I don't understand what it basically is.
Okay, yeah. So ego Gusler is basically the fight between two countries have led to overutilization of resources, and there's a ego fight between which country gets the power or gets the control to cover up resources.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
give you an example. So let's say in Ukraine and Russia, the fight is also on resources. Which country gets to control the oil reserves or gas reserves? So that is one of the fights or the tussles that we're having. That's the basic point that ego Gusler has. Works well?
And it's also and also the fight is taking up resources, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, please lower down your hands, everyone. Feel free to share your thoughts in the chat box. I will now be going towards understanding the format. Lower your hands because then I'll be confused who is generally speaking about the monsters or who has a question about the WSTC format. Great. Welcome to the concept that we will be going towards. You all will be discussing the formats in the next few minutes of the session. World School's debate format involves two teams. Those two teams are called proposition opposition. These two teams are specifically resolved to ensure that they come to a conclusion. But I'm just going to help you figure out what this team event is. But before that, I have like a quiz for everyone. And feel free to answer that in the chat box or just vocalize it but vocalize in a much more disciplined manner. Great. My first question is, so WSDC is a competitive event. Just like every event, like football has a world championship, soccer has a world championship, hockey has a world championship, cricket has a world championship, so has debate a world championship. I'm just going to ask you a few GK quiz on what this WSDC format is. My first question is, which country won the WSDC championship this year or the previous year, 2023? Because we haven't had a WSDC in 2024 as of yet. Yes, feel free to unmute yourself and answer.
World soccer.
No. I'm asking which country has won the
World soccer.
WSDC title. No. There are so many countries. There must be one country that has won the WSDC.
Soccer.
Argentina.
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 No. No. Any other guesses? Which country do you think is excellent
India.
at debating? That's a good guess. I like it.
States.
India.
Excuse me,
India-
ma'am.
Oh yeah, we've got an answer in the chat box. It's United States of America. That's absolutely correct. Somebody was excusing. Yep. Do you have a question?
India.
No, India went to. Okay, that's my second question. So great. We are done with the first question. Let's go to our second question. My second question is, which round did India get eliminated in this year's World Championship? Which round did India get eliminated in WSDC this year?
Semi-final.
Good guess, but no.
Ma'am, final.
Preliminary.
No preliminary. I think
Quarterfinals.
Final.
yeah, I heard quarterfinals. Yeah,
Quarterfinals.
that's correct. Quarterfinals is correct. Let's go to our third question. How many countries participate in WSDC each year? That's my third question. 9? No, 9 is very small of a number. I mean, there are more teams in IDL than WSDC.
70.
Excuse me, ma'am.
70.
70 is very close.
Ma'am,
Ma'am, 73.
75.
Okay, you are guessing almost correctly. So I've got one answer.
Ma'am, 50.
Yeah, so 80 is the correct answer. Thanks, Varnika. 80. So the number of the teams change. Obviously, there are more than 80 countries which participate, but I think 80 is an overall reliable number that I can focus on. Great. Thank you, everyone. That was the quiz for WSDC. Now we will be discussing the format. It's a team event, which means you have two teams facing each other. The first team is called proposition. The second team is called opposition. Proposition has 3 members, opposition has 3 members. Can somebody tell me what is the total amount of numbers, like people in the debate room? If you have 3 on each side?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, there are, I guess, 7 to 8 people.
6.
6 is correct. Yeah, 7 to 8 is
6.
correct. Because
No,
there
ma'am,
will be
because
2
there are 2
judges as well.
adjudicators as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There can be 3 adjudicators. There can be 1 adjudicator as well. So it depends on how many judges we have. But in terms of like certain numbers, I think 6 people will be there in a house.
Yes, ma'am.
House
So there are,
basically.
yeah,
Yes, Kiara, thank you so much. So in a house, you have 2 teams, 3 people inside that team debating against each other. These team members have a specific name, which we will be discussing in tomorrow's class in depth. Proposition had 3 speakers. They are called Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, Government Whip. If you don't remember it right now, that's fine. We will be sharing the slides and we will be going through the format in a much more extensive manner tomorrow as well. Opposition has 3 members. They are called Leader of Opposition, Deputy Leader of Opposition, and Opposition Whip. They can also be called Speaker 1, Speaker 2, Speaker 3, and Speaker 1, Speaker 2, Speaker 3 on opposition. I'm just going to write the names of all the speakers in the chat box so you all remember it at least till we meet next time. Great. Speaker 1 from proposition. If you all remember, just speak it with me. Speaker 1 proposition is called Prime Minister. Speak after me. Yeah. Prime Minister. Speaker 2 proposition is called Deputy Prime Minister.
Deputy Prime Minister.
Great. Speak after me. There should be unison. Speaker 3 from proposition is called government whip.
Government prime minister.
Deputy Prime Minister.
Government whip.
Great. Let's go to speaker 1 opposition. These speakers are called leader of opposition. Leader of opposition. Speaker 2 from opposition is called, any guesses, anyone? Deputy leader of opposition. Speaker 3 from opposition is called?
Opposition whip.
Yes.
Opposition web.
Opposition.
Exactly, you're correct. You're correct. Opposition whip. Yes, so learn all the names by heart, okay? Just a couple of things that I want to say. So the speaker time. So one speaker will speak for 3 minutes each. So tell me the time for which the entire round will function. It's 3 minutes each. So how long will the debate be?
18 minutes.
Absolutely, yes. So 3 rounds will be played on qualifier day, round 1, round 2, round 3. We will be releasing the topics tomorrow. Ignore the date here. I'm just going to edit and send it on the group as well. It will be tomorrow, which means 25th March, we will be releasing topics. You will get 2 topics. Round 1 and round 2 topics are same, but your sides will change. So let's say the topic is this house would ban single-use plastics. An example, okay? This is not the topic. So in round 1, you will be proposition. In round 2, you will be opposition. You will not be debating from the same side in each of the rounds. You get one motion for 2 rounds and your side changes. For round 3, you will get a different topic. Is this side clear?
Ma'am, I had a doubt.
Yes, go ahead.
Ma'am, the topic we will be given tomorrow is for 26th March or is it for 28th March?
28th March. For 26th, we will be doing some impromptu case preparations where you don't have to prepare anything. You will be just discussing with me in the group chat or in the class.
Okay, ma'am.
Great. I'm going to repeat it once again for everybody. Yep, this is what it looks like. I'm going to be releasing the topic for round 1, round 2, round 3 tomorrow. There will be 2 topics. Round 1 and round 2 will have the same topic, but you will have a side change. So let's say in round 1, you were debating on side proposition. In round 2, you will be debating on the same motion, but different side, which means you will be debating on opposition. Similarly, if you get a topic, the same topic, and you get opposition in round 1, you will get proposition in round 2. Similarly, the round 3 topic is different and you will get a side as well. Is this clear to everyone? I'm going to be releasing the topic on 25th March. All the recordings and slides and everything will be shared on the group for everybody's convenience. Yep, I'm going to be opening the floor for doubts. Yes, Arthur.
Ma'am, like in the 3 days, we will have to prepare for both the side or for only one side?
Both the sides. So you are given the motion, but you're not given the side, which means you have to prepare on both sides, proposition, opposition, so that you're prepared
Okay.
on the main day.
Okay, and then you will give on the 28th,
Yeah.
like you on 28th you will tell us in which on which side are we talking.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, Varnika.
Ma'am, I had a doubt in the role of the proposition team and the opposition team. So, can you please explain the role?
Yeah, we will be discussing the rules tomorrow.
Okay.
Ranvijay?
Ma'am, on qualify round, we'll speak for opposition and preposition both.
So you are given a side, although you have to prepare for both the sides. So in round 1, let's say you speak on proposition. In round 2, you speak from opposition. In round 3, you get to know which side you will speak on, but only one of them will be true.
When we'll get the topic tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yes. Yes, Miraya, any doubts? If you have no doubts, please lower your hand so that I can actually address doubts which are there.
Ma'am, when will we get the topics for the qualifier round?
Tomorrow, I repeated it thrice. Yep, Elena.
Ma'am, I have a question about the format.
Yeah.
Like, can a person interrupt it? Like, okay, what if one of the person doesn't know and another teammate knows? Can they can they take the other person's turn?
No interruption is allowed. So I want to just clarify one more thing. It's called equity rules. So equity rules just prohibits you from interrupting any other speaker in any middle of the time. This is called respecting the person. Respect the individual when they are speaking, and respect the team's way of like talking as well. Couple of things: do not just like abuse your speakers, do not create any sort of nuisance when you're in the round. Ensure, like, let's say if you have any discomfort, you can connect with the team, and you can connect with this person called Nitisha Tyagi from Indian Debating League. I'm going to be dropping the number of theirs tomorrow, so that you can get in touch whenever you feel uncomfort or discomfort between the rounds. Is this clear, Lena?
Yes, so we can't interrupt our teammate, right?
Yeah, no.
And like, how do we switch from point to point if we say we're switching from a point?
You can just say argument 1, argument 2, argument 3.
Okay.
Great, Miraya.
Ma'am, is it necessary to speak for 3 minutes, or we can speak more or less than that too?
You have to stick with the time limit, which is 3 minutes. If you speak more than 3 minutes, it should be 15 seconds more, not like 1 minute extra. You have to speak 3 minutes, or if you want to speak lower than that, try to complete the time limit which is subscribed here. Is that clear to everyone?
And ma'am, we have to prepare for the topics that you will give.
Yes, we'll be giving tomorrow. Great. Any other doubts? Ranvijay is raising their hand. Do you have doubts?
No, ma'am.
Any doubts, anyone? Yes, Varnika.
Ma'am, so tomorrow you will also you will tell that which team is in opposition and which is in proposition.
No, the sides will be released on 28th. I will be releasing just the motions. Your sides, so you will have to prepare for both proposition and opposition. Your sides will be released on 28th, the day of the match.
Okay, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, Ranvijay, you were raising your hand.
Ma'am, if we are in opposition, so there will be 3 people in one team.
I'm so sorry. Can you repeat it? Can you repeat your question, Ranvijay?
If we are in opposition, so there will be 3 people speaking.
Yes.
And we all will have to say the same thing.
No, different. It depends on the kind of content you are creating with your team. I'm going to be explaining all of this tomorrow, though.
Okay, ma'am.
Yep, Miraya.
Ma'am, like me, Varnika, and Ranvijay are one team, so we 3 will speak at the opposition or proposition team at the same time.
No, so first speaker speaks first, second speaker speaks. So I'm going to be explaining the format tomorrow. Don't worry about it.
Okay, ma'am.
Great. Yes. Any other doubts? Format will go together with that tomorrow. Your topics will be released tomorrow. Your sites will be released on the day of the match. You just have to log in and sit in the Zoom meeting. And yep, you'll be going towards all of this tomorrow as well. Great. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Bye. Yep, doubts? Yes, Ranvir.
Ma'am, it will be more of a teamwork or individual.
Teamwork.
Okay, ma'am.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for being a part of this. Bye. Yep. Is anyone raising their
Bye, ma'am.
voice?
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes. Shikansh, you're raising your hand.
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to ask, like, can we will first prepare together and then we will speak individually. The
Yes.
point. So, ma'am, we will like get the time for preparing differently instead of the 3 minutes of speaking.
So you will get the topic tomorrow. You get around like 3-4 days to prepare. You can do that in that duration.
Like, so first everyone will prepare in our team, and then we will speak the points differently.
Yes.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Great. Thank you so much for being a part
Ma'am,
of it. Yes,
ma'am, ma'am,
Alina.
like, do we get like 15 seconds to prepare a rebuttal?
No, you don't get any time for preparation of rebuttals. So you get like a grace period. So like, let's say after the ending of the speech of the first speaker, you get around 15 seconds to recollect your thoughts. So in that 15 seconds, you can think of anything extra that you want to add into your speech. But after 15 seconds, you will have to start. That's like a grace period between one speaker and second speaker.
And ma'am, one more thing, like, one sec. Yeah, can we have like a paper to read from just for the points
Yes.
while we're debating?
Yes, but ensure that you do not like speak from the paper entirely. Have a eye
Yeah.
contact with the judges
Yes,
as well.
yes.
Great. Bye everyone.